Hello and welcome to the Grueling Truth. This is the Grueling Truth NASCAR show. I'm your co-host Joe Spilman, along with Steve Risley and Ryan Peters. Before we get started with the show, I want to remind you that the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sports book that's right for you. Guys, we have a wonderful Wednesday. We have a wonderful Wednesday show, but before we get started with our show, Steve, we have a NASCAR birthday, or a Grueling Truth NASCAR show birthday today. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's Mr. Ryan Peters' birthday today. Happy birthday,
Oh,
Mr.
happy
Yeah, happy
birthday,
birthday,
Mr.
Ryan.
Peters.
Appreciate it.
Wow. Thanks for the
I wanna-
advance notice on that, Ryan or Joe.
Oh yeah,
I would have
didn't tell
gotten him a
anybody
present.
I thought about opening the show up with just singing "Happy Birthday" to Ryan, but I didn't know if he could make it
Let's
through
keep
that.
everybody listening.
Yeah, we don't want to lose everybody.
And I didn't think after me singing "Happy Birthday" we'd have any viewers left. So I'll just refrain from that and tell you happy birthday, Ryan. I think you're like 24, 25 now. Is that right?
32.
I know you're in your 30s. I didn't want to bring that up.
Well, happy birthday.
Guys, let's
Thank
dive into the show. We have a bunch of things to get through, a bunch of topics to get through. The rumor mill's flying. There's a bunch of news coming out right before the All-Star race. So let's dive into it. Before we get to our recap of Kansas this past week, Steve, I think this is a topic you might want to talk about. I hear there's something going on with Le Mans, the 24-hour at Le Mans in NASCAR. What can you tell me about that?
I don't think this is really, I think this thing's been in the works and probably been mentioned, but I have not heard anything about this. But it's a fact now that this is happening because a press conference was held on this. Apparently, NASCAR has plans this year to enter a Camaro, a car, into the 24 Hours of Le Mans under the advancement and technology program that Le Mans puts in. They have not assigned the car to a class yet, and but what they have done is they have put this in the hands of Hendrick Motorsport, and with Chad Knaus being the director of the Le Mans program, and it will be a Hendrick Camaro. Now, and we don't know any more details. Hendrick was on the press conference saying we have yet to work out aerodynamics. We have yet to work out horsepower. We have yet to work out drivers, although I think it's going to be three of the drivers probably in the Hendrick stable, or possibly two of them in a couple or one Le Mans driver who's actually driven in the 24 hours before. But so they worked out none of the details of the car yet. However, just as soon as I got that, there was immediate grumbling going on by the Ford camp and the Toyota camp, claiming that the Chevrolet camp is going to get undue, unfair, excess training or development and track time on a road course with their car. They'll get messaging, they'll get test and dynamics with aero packages, with horsepowers, different aspects of the car. And they're all up in arms that this was done this way, and that it was sprung on them that it was going to be a Hendrick / Chevrolet / NASCAR development program. So there's probably more to come out of that, probably more likely, if anything, a data sharing program of all the data that they accrue by practicing and getting this car ready to go. I'm sure the information will have to be shared out and leaked out, although how much it applies to a Ford and to a Toyota remains to be seen because they all have different arrows. Now, I'll close with this, and then Ryan, you're shaking your head, so you must know something about this too. I did some research on it, and I thought, wow, this is novel and unique. About time they expanded. However, surprisingly, this is not the first time that NASCAR has done this. In 1976, Bill France entered and ran a Ford and a Dodge in the 1976 Le Mans race. And I could not find, it was they were not IN teams, but they ran the stock NASCARs in it in a sports car class or a sportsman class, and the cars finished the race. They did last, but I don't think that they were highly competitive and everything. And at that point in time, with all the other rumors flying around, I kind of gave up looking for any more information on the 1976 program. So, to anybody listening to us, kind of fun news. Stay tuned. Put your ears to the grindstone. Like I said, I pretty well listen to Sirius XM NASCAR every day I'm in my car. I watch the Fox hourly magazine daily, and I have not heard this prior to me just picking up off a wire service yesterday. But they did hold a press conference. This is an official thing going on right now. Comments from you guys?
I have a question because I'm just not that familiar with the 24 Hours at Le Mans. I saw the Matt Damon movie, which was
Good
great.
movie
But
too. Very
yeah,
good movie.
but I guess I don't understand the classes. My understanding of the 24 Hours at Le Mans, I thought that those were supposed to be supercar type cars. So I guess there's multiple classes.
No, there's multiple classes. Yeah, if you ever watch that race, there's what's called the prototype class, which is the cars that Damon and then the Ford GT ran in the prototype class when they did. And then it goes down from there. I mean, Ferraris, Porsches. There's a sportsman's class, a step just below the prototype class. It keeps graduating down to where you almost have Peugeots coming in off the parking lot and getting in and trying to run in Le Mans. And I'm being a little facetious there, but they'll find the right class. Corvettes have historically run and won at Le Mans often. Corvettes have had a very successful time running. The Shelby Mustangs, matter of fact, the Daytona, the Shelby Mustangs and the Daytonas went and ran. The Shelby ran a huge Le Mans program with multiple classes. So there's been a lot of Americanization in Le Mans. The Ford GT went in there, and for the 5 or 6 years they ran, they absolutely pissed Ferrari off royally, because that had been a Ferrari dog and pony show up until they came in, which was the basis of the movie Ford versus Ferrari, and just dominated for a long period of time until Ford got tired of proving they could beat everybody and basically dropped the funding of their Le Mans racing program. And in a nutshell, that's what happened. But no, there are more classes than I even know about Le Mans. But like I said, they have a class that will encompass any car. And like I said, the Corvettes have done extremely well. Other American cars, the Mustangs, have done well. I'm sure they've run Camaros there before as well. So, Brian, what do you have to add to it? You seem to know something about this.
Well, we mentioned that there's going to be a lot of rumors, and with rumors also comes conspiracy theories. So, what I've been hearing, and this makes you think too, is I heard that the NASCAR was wanting to get into the Le Mans 24-hour race.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just came out and said, yeah, Hendrick and Chevy is going to be the one that's doing it.
Right.
And you mentioned the Ford and Toyota side going, whoa, wait a minute. To think about that, they're going to base it off the next-gen car for this race. Now, like you said, are they going to be GR3, GR4, LMP? Nobody knows that yet. But more than likely, it's going to be somewhere between GR3 and GR4, which is really just horsepower.
Right.
The only way they can present this to NASCAR, why they should be the ones fronting it, is they have to have a plan. You don't just get to be – I just don't feel like NASCAR went, you know what, Hendrick, we're going to choose you. Because if Hendrick doesn't have something to show NASCAR why they should choose them, I think that, it just kind of goes back to how much of this is already in the works, and then how much the other teams not know. Because Toyota's lead TRD officer said he had no idea this was happening. He had no idea Chevy was going to get chosen. The only thing that they knew is that they were interested in it. So I think the reason why Toyota and Ford are really upset about this is how much have they already worked on with NASCAR, but with making this car. And it kind of throws in the conspiracy theory. Well, if Chevy was working with Toyota for this Le Mans series with the next-gen car, maybe that's why Chevy is almost twice as many wins as Ford and also Toyota.
7-3-3 this year. It's seven Chevy wins, 3 Ford wins, and 3 Toyota wins.
Right, and Hendrick Motorsports owns 5 of those 7.
Right.
So, from what I understand, they're allowed to go to the testing site every time that this car runs on a testing surface.
Right.
So that's what they're allowed. A member of Ford and a member of Toyota is allowed to be there. But does that show what shared data that they have? Does that show exactly what they're working on in the garage? that's the part that nobody knows. And I think that's the part that frustrates Ford and Toyota more than anything. Denny Hamlin said this should be a Toyota car, and you can put 3 different manufacturers' parts on it and say, this is our NASCAR that we're sending over to Le Mans. That was his rationale, what he thought should happen. So whether it had a Toyota suspension, a Chevy engine, and a Ford chassis, that's what he thought should have been done on this, and just said, hey, NASCAR is going international. This is our baby that we've made, because we're a three motor or organization run motorsport, and I think that's why they're really upset about it.
Yeah, and Joe, you got a comment you want to make? You want us just to keep? I mean,
no, I'm just actually I enjoy listening to this because I don't know much about it. I don't know much about the 24-hour at Le Mans, so I really can't have much input on this topic.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, I watched the full press conference that they put on, and Mr. Hendrick, and Chad Canals. Chad Canals is an analytical by nature.
Right.
I guarantee you he has a plan. And, Mr. Hendrick does not put a car out there without a plan, too. So I think that's probably why Chevrolet got this. And you're correct. I did not even wrap in my mind how much Chevy might be benefiting from that right now. That they are taking some things back, weight and balance ratios. They can't screw with a lot of things because it's a NASCAR versus what the next gen car is going to be turned into a Le Mans car. And there's going to be, gripping differences in the two cars in terms of mechanical structure of the cars or mechanical power of the cars. But there's still a lot of aero data they can take back, things of that nature. And, engine durability and things like that. So there's a lot to be benefited from that. Somehow this smacks to me of a little bit of a Jeff Gordon involvement. Jeff Gordon is vice chairman of it, and he's an owner of Hendrick Motorsports now. I mean, he's heir apparent to own that when Mr. Hendrick steps aside.
Right.
And I think that's pretty well known. That's why he got out of the booth and decided just to go be the second in charge of Hendrick. This smacks of Jeff Gordon all the time because Jeff Gordon, all throughout the last part of his career, he would like to go take a seasonal shot at F1. He always kind of hinted around that he would like to do that. And he got in, remember, in the big swaps, he's the one that got in and drove the F1 cars, things of that nature. So he's always had an hankering for F1 and the European scene to go over there. So, but I think that Hendrick probably has put the best laid plan. Now, if they purposely kept that away from Ford and Toyota, I think that's wrong too. They should be allowing it, and I don't know at this point if they're in development and we're maybe they put one of each of the 3 cars on the track, see which one performs the best.
And I think
that would be the fairest, but time frame and things like that, I'm not even sure when Le Mans is. Does anybody know when Le Mans is?
I have no idea. I mean,
it
obviously, and that's what is my question is, if they're going to provide this car, but they don't provide a driver, it's kind of interesting to say, how much does NASCAR gain on this internationally from a popularity standpoint?
Like I said, I would bet at least 2 of the drivers, 3-man team, at least 2 of the drivers are going to be Hendrick drivers. I mean, I could easily see Byron and Larson going over there. Chase is one of the road course specialists for that team still.
That would be my first person that I thought would go, because
would be Elliott,
it is.
Right.
Yeah, it is a more of a road course style. It has multiple turns. It's a huge track. But
you can easily send Larson. You can easily send Larson and Elliott over there and not embarrass yourself at all. So, and then maybe they stick a bona fide Le Mans driver in with them to just teach them a little bit and guide them on how to run that course.
Right. And Elliott's run at the 24 hours at the Rolex 24 hours at Daytona, and along with Kyle Busch. I believe those are the only 2 people from NASCAR that have run a 24-hour race. But yeah, and maybe with a partnership with Chevy, maybe somebody like AJ Allmendinger gets to be a part of it. I don't know. That's the part that is kind of interesting. how much of this do they want to compete, and how much are they willing to say this is our NASCAR car? We're just trying to reach
I'll
a
tell you
broader
what,
audience.
Ryan, you brought up a good point, and we don't want to make this the whole show today. But I think, a great solution might be to take one driver from all three car camps to drive the car. Yeah, it's a Chevy, but we're going to put a Ford driver in there. We're going to put a Toyota driver in there, and we're going to put a Chevy driver in the car. That's a possible outcome. And again, we're now getting into speculation and things like that. What we know is that NASCAR is sending a Chevy Camaro powered by Hendrick or designed and developed by Hendrick with Chad Canals as the team principal for that program for Le Mans this year. That's all we really know that I've seen or been able to dig up.
Well, guys, that is a very interesting topic. I wish I could add more to that, but I'm out of my depth with that.
Joe, it just came. I just found it today. Obviously,
Right,
Ryan knew about this and didn't share it with us.
Yeah, Ryan, damn it.
Damn it, Ryan. I tell you what. If you knew about this,
hey, I'm not going to tell. I don't want Ryan's mom getting mad at me. It's okay with me, Ryan.
My mom will eat you alive.
Ryan, we're going to let you slide today just because it's your birthday. That's all.
It's your birthday.
Only
Ryan.
reason.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
and
you're welcome. My birthday soon.
It's a wonderful Wednesday. We're not bashing anybody today.
No.
But
so I thought that was interesting. Great news. Great way for NASCAR to branch out a little bit into an entirely different market of fans over in Europe. Just to see a NASCAR, hear it, and everything, and let it run and see what it does. So
definitely a great topic. And if we learn more information, we'll definitely talk about it more in some upcoming shows. Going. Let's get into some of the news in NASCAR this week. Kurt Busch comes out, gets his what I like to call first legitimate win for 23XI, but first win of the 2022 season for 23XI and first win of the 2022 season for Kurt Busch. And all the good vibes he had on Sunday, we learned here on Monday that his life's not going so well. So, as it turns out right now, Kurt Busch is apparently getting a divorce. So, I guess things off the track aren't going real well from him. Ryan, do you know anything about that or what the speculation is, why that may be happening?
No, I heard that. I don't really privy into, the personal lives that much into, these NASCAR drivers. I know that he's had issues previously, and I think that's why when we look back at Kurt Busch and all the different teams that he's raced for, because a lot of it was off the track stuff, especially in his relationship. So the only thing I can say is hopefully this is for better for both, and he continues to drive a really fast NASCAR for 23XI Racing.
Yeah, his wife Ashley, she's no slouch in the fact that she's a world ranked polo player, and she actually represents the United States polo team as an ambassador to all events across the world globally. She's one of the ambassadors that goes over to events and represents it. So she's got a name and a moniker all on her own. So like you, I get enough of the husband-wife bashing by watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Real Housewives of New Jersey or Orange County or Miami or Atlanta.
And now you got Austin Dillon's new show.
Yeah, well, and Ashley was a part of the show, the wonderful show that was on CMT 2 years ago, NASCAR Wives, the Wives of NASCAR, which Kurt and Ashley were a part of that program. But what I can say at the end up is about this is that, and then Joe, whatever you know, because I know you read the official decree. But all I can tell you is all that damn money he won on Sunday went to her on Monday.
I don't know.
Then he said, I'm going to write that check to Ashley. There was a prenup involved. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. All I really know is back in May or May 5th, I believe it was, or May 7th, that Kurt Busch's wife filed for divorce in Florida. She cited that essentially a couple months ago he had cut her off financially and ask her to move out of the house. So I don't know what's going on really in their personal lives or what led to that, but it sounds like maybe the relationship ending was initiated by Kurt Busch and just followed through by her. And I don't want us on this show to be into TMZ or anything, but I just thought it was relevant news that we bring up. So,
well, and the only question I had when I saw that come out, what kind of idiot signs into a joint checking account with his wife? I have been married for 38 years, and I have never had a joint account with my wife. We don't have joint credit cards. We don't put cosign on cars with each other. Her car's in her name. My car's in my name. She has her checking account. My wife, I have my checking account. And that's the way it is. I mean, we parlay up together on everything, but whoa, joint accounts scare the crap out of me.
Well, Steve, I don't know about Ryan, but I've been a public employee much of my life, and so is my wife. So we don't even have joint money, so that doesn't even matter.
My wife gives me rations for the week, so that's the only thing that I can allude to.
Yeah. My wife does the same to me.
Like actual rations or allowance.
No, it's like a stamp, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to get a drink of milk, and she goes, you're out, and I'm like, well, I have these crayons, but you know what? It's fine. I'll be okay.
Yeah,
there's a creek. Right. There's a creek down the hill.
No more for you.
That bodes into my only tangent of the day. That was the only wonderful thing about COVID. There was nothing to do, nowhere to go. Didn't need new clothes. Didn't need new golf clubs. Didn't need new golf balls. I paid off everything. Yeah. As my money came in, I just said, I got nothing to go buy. We ain't going out to dinner tonight.
Well, Steve,
that movie, Top Gun's going to be on streaming service in 3 weeks. I can wait 3 weeks.
that doesn't count.
$50 so I just wiped out everything.
Yeah, Steve, that doesn't count. You live in California. COVID actually happened there. We live in southern Indiana. We didn't even know anything was going on for a good while. So, we went on about our lives as good Americans should.
Well, it wasn't that way out here. Trust me.
I know it.
So
moving on to the.
But Joe, that's a funny point. Let me just one other thing. I got my haircut this morning. If you guys can tell,
it looks great.
Mike told me I had to get a haircut if I want to stay on the show. So I went and got a haircut, and I walked in, and I had forgotten to wear a mask. And there were like 4 other guys sitting in there. Now, I did call ahead at Sport Clips. And so I walked right by him because I had made an appointment on call ahead. And those guys had to sit and wait for the next available beautician or barber to come available. But anyway, I walked in without a mask. And I said, oh, wait, do I have to put a mask on? And the rules out here now is you don't have to. They recommend you do, but it's not mandatory. So I said, don't worry. I'm from Indiana. We don't catch anything from anybody in Indiana. We're brawny, durable, and tough there. We're not like Californians that have to mask up all the time because they're going to catch any disease known to man.
Yeah.
Because
I thought you're
well. See, and I've known that for a while that people in California, their immune effective as us here in Indiana. So
they aren't. Trust me.
And that's what you should be like.
I thought the way that this was turning, I thought Steve was going to walk in and say, "I'm not wearing a mask. I'm Mr. Pelosi," and they're like, "Sit right down, sir."
Oh, Pelosi's don't have to wear a mask in California.
They don't. No, they don't have to.
They can get their hair done when nobody else can. That's
right. They can. Yes, they can. As the governor can go to dinner at the most expensive restaurant in San Francisco too. Anyway, let's get back to NASCAR.
Yeah, Steve, I want to talk about the Steve, which is a new segment on our show now, the Steve Rumor Mill, and the rumors going around NASCAR. And what do you guys know about? The Kyle Busch talk right now, possibly leaving JGR, or going to another team, not going to another team. Has anybody heard any rumors?
Didn't we just talk about that? Did we just open up the show with that?
Yeah, did we? No, we didn't.
No, we talked off air about it.
Oh, we talked off air
about it. Steve, you all messed up.
Oh, God. No, that's me. That's 63 years old coming at you right now. All right.
We already talked about shit. Yeah, we did.
Who wants to open that up? I found out some stuff. Right now, it's all rumors. All right. Go ahead, Joe. Ryan, you take this one. I'll bump in on you.
So the thing that came out from Toyota, the racing development, their president was coming out and said that it'd be a travesty if Kyle Busch left. He expects him to retire at JGR, and anything else that ever happens, that's not that would be terrible. He also alluded to the fact that they've had a rocky relationship at times, if you want to put it that way. I guess that was a politically correct way to put it. But essentially that they've grown together, and, Kyle Busch has put 60 wins for them, or almost more wins for them than any other Toyota driver pretty much combined. Because you go with Cup Series, Truck Series, Nationwide Series, or Xfinity Series. And, they also had the partnership through ARCA and the Truck Series with Toyota. But what I got out of that was pretty much Toyota saying, JGR, you need to get this done. That's what I got out of it. I think that Kyle Busch has spoken because he's frustrated. Now Toyota is speaking because I think they're frustrated that this hasn't already been a done deal, because there's a possibility that the greatest driver that's ever drove a Toyota is about to walk. And I don't think they want that to happen by what they're saying, because I think they're not only just worried about their Cup, I think they're worried about what Kyle Busch Motorsports will also leave as well, and that's a development program through them. I mean, it's essentially, the best young drivers drive for KBM, and they want that to keep going, and then, they rise through the ranks to go through Joe Gibbs at the Xfinity Series level. So I think there's pressure on both sides. He also said that Joe Gibbs can't afford Kyle Busch, so it's going to take a significant sponsorship to keep him there. And it just kind of – I just can't remember where a guy that's 37 years old, which in NASCAR is still your prime. His brother just won, and he's in his 40s. And we all respect Kurt Busch and think that he's still got, some time to drive as long as he wants to. But, I think everybody's getting upset about it, and they're not hearing enough. I think Bob Pockrass even mentioned that there's a deal that was close to being done, and we still have not heard anything else about it. And I think everybody's getting upset, and they think that Joe Gibbs Racing is dragging their feet on getting this done, and everybody just taking a deep breath and saying, thank God it's over.
Steve?
Now, some of the rumors I've heard that tie into that. The speculation is that Martin Truex is on the retirement bubble. That he's looking, whether it's the end of this season, I doubt it, because we know about that, but possibly at the end of next year. Ty Gibbs is in the mix there somewhere. They're going to have to make room for Ty Gibbs, because I guarantee you he's coming to the Gibbs program in the Cup Series one way or another.
Right.
So the rumors that you'd heard were that Truex was going to retire, Gibbs was going to take the 19 car, and then coupled with that, which the more I think about it, the more asinine it sounds. There's two branches to this rumor. One is that Kyle will go take over and run in the 2311 camp with his brother, which is a fully, supported team by Joe Gibbs Racing. They have Joe Gibbs equipment and engine and everything. So he would go ride there in the 23 car, moving Bubba Wallace to the 18 car. That's one scenario. Now, at first I thought, okay, I don't see a real harm in that happening. Might be kind of cool if Jordan wants to put that Jordan brand out, and Jordan brands could afford Kyle Busch easily. And
That's for sure.
Jordan brands could afford Kyle Busch on a full as a single sponsor, and the things they could do with that car with him, driving it. Because I do not think that Kyle Busch's career is over. He's got 57 wins now. He's going to get to 60 years. He's at 60. He's going to get above 70 before his career is over, easily. So there's that. The other thing is, the other room tied into that, which was another fork in this, is that young Gibbs, Ty, would come over and take the 11 car. And Hamlin would come over and drive in the 23, because there's a lot of and I got another thing I wanted to talk about too, if we ever get to it, was the points about the way that Hamlin acted after the Kansas race when his car won, about seeming to be more joyous and happy about the fact that, you know, the 2311 car won than he was about that the 11 FedEx car did so well and finished in the top 5 or 6 and had a great
topic.
Pardon? Doesn't okay. I'll leave that alone then. I'll leave that alone. We'll get to that. But so there was talk that possibly Hamlin would just come over. That was another speculation, conspiracy theories you want to call it, would come over and just drive the 23 car, and that Bubba would go over to Gibbs and run. Now, the one thing about Bubba is I know we've all questioned, and you know, Joe's brought up many a poll on this show about whether Bubba's qualified to run in NASCAR. I think he is. You know, he was running strong at Kansas again. And again, you know, fate steps his way.
Hold on, Steve.
Well, let me finish my point, then I'll give it to you. What Bubba is, and you can address this too, Joe. What Bubba is to Joe Gibbs is he's a cash cow. He's like Danica Patrick. You know, in the beginning when Danica came to SHR, yeah, she couldn't drive to save her ass, and all the male drivers went out and had fun with her, you know, wrecking her and things like that. But she was an absolute cash cow. That's when she left SHR, was when the cash cow dried up and went away. Now, right now, you know, to have McDonald's on as your primary sponsor, I mean, that's a big time sponsor to have. And I'm sure they're paying a lot of money. And they've got Bubba on that car, in that car right now, and they probably could put a more qualified winning driver in that car. But they choose not to because Bubba is a cash cow. Joe, I'll turn it over to you with that. So there's plenty of opportunities.
I never said that Bubba Wallace was not a NASCAR caliber driver. I don't think that he's a championship caliber driver, and I don't think it's right that NASCAR portrays him as one of the best drivers in the sport in every ad that you see. I don't agree with that fact. He has one win in a race delayed Talladega last year. Since then, he weekly finishes, you know, outside the top 15. You know, he's not a driver that I think is ever going to win you a championship. I don't think he has the skill set to drive that well. I think he's proven that he's a deep driver on super speedways, but really everybody is, you know, because it's a crapshoot when you drive on those things. So, you know, to clarify, I think, you know, I certainly think he could probably drive a race car better than me. And I'm not saying that. And I think he is a race car driver, but I do not think that he is a championship caliber race car and driver in NASCAR's top circuit. And until he can prove me otherwise, that will be my feelings. I think he should be driving a race car for a living. I don't know if he should be branded as the greatest thing in NASCAR right now, which he obviously is. So that's really my opinion. It's not the fact that I don't think he should be driving a race car. I think he's probably one of the best race car drivers in the world, as they all are in NASCAR. But he's certainly not a championship. He's not a Kyle Larson. He's not a Chase Elliott. He's not a Busch. He's not a Kurt Busch. So, you know, to my issue is with how Bubba Wallace is branded in the sport as being one of the greatest drivers in the sport, which he is not. And I think it's a lie. And I think it's a lie that NASCAR continually pushes to push. I don't know why they do it. You know, that's my issue with him or with the idea of Bubba Wallace. So to clarify that, I do think that he should be a NASCAR driver. But moving on into our
Wait a minute. Let me add something to that.
Go ahead.
Just real quickly.
Yeah.
I agree entirely with your assessment, and I don't think anybody disputes that with you. But I think what NASCAR has done with Bubba Wallace, they've not branded him, I don't think so much as a championship caliber driver. What they have branded him is a marquee driver. And that's why you see him on every advertisement NASCAR does. You see the 4 champions up there and Bubba. He's a marquee for them. And I think it's for obvious reasons. We know probably why he's a marquee driver for them. And maybe that's good. You know, I saw what the soccer organization did today, which makes me, that's another show. but it's not a NASCAR show, so I'm not even going to get into it, what they did for the men's and women's teams.
It is the grueling truth, Steve. You could say it.
Well, I'm going to stay NASCAR. I want to stay focused on what we're talking about. But I think that, because it will get us all off on a tangent, I think Bubba is a marquee driver for NASCAR right now. I think they want integration. They want inclusion. They want diversity, and Bubba is the poster child for that for them. And I think, Chase Elliott says Bubba's his best friend. That he and Kyle Ryan Blaney hang out all the time. That they all love Bubba. The drivers like Bubba. There's no animosity toward him at all. It's just a case of where NASCAR is trying to promote diversion and inclusiveness and diversity, and Bubba's the poster child for that. And for that, he's getting the marquee billing that he is, and so be it.
Well,
if that's the case, I can live with that, because I'd love to see the sport more integrated. I want Ferrari to build a car and come in, bring a bunch of Italians in.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Ryan.
So this segment was talking about the best driver in NASCAR, and somehow you guys got off on a tangent talking about the 25th best driver in NASCAR. So I'm going to rein in because I want to talk about my driver. So
okay,
I just want to say
I
want to rank kind of these rumors, Steve, that you brought up.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, did we mention the other rumor was that Kyle might go to SHR under a partial ownership? Yeah. Were you going to bring that up?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you have it then.
I think that's last. I think that rumor is completely from the Kyle Busch camp and his agent. I think that is purely just a power move that they're trying to spread. Hey, if you don't give me something here, this is what Tony Stewart's offering. And I think that's completely noise just so that they can hurry up and get this done, because that's what negotiations are all about. It's all about leverage. So I think that's what Kyle Busch and his team is using as leverage. Again, these are rumors, so this is my opinion. The next, I don't think Kyle Busch would go to 2311 Sports only for one thing, but you did bring up a great point, Steve, and that's because there's no sponsorship. McDonald's loves Bubba Wallace, and then the other sponsor for 2311 is Monster Energy. Well, I don't think Monster Energy wants to have another driver who has a rival energy drink, and that's Rowdy Energy. So I don't think Kyle Busch is going to go join, even though they had a great partnership in the past, but now he's in that same market. So I don't think you're going to see the Monster Energy car next to the Rowdy Energy car. I don't think Kyle would want that as well. Again, that's just an opinion. And the last thing I'll say, I don't see Bubba going to JGR is because Joe Gibbs Racing has too many good young talent in Xfinity. Brandon Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, and Ty Gibbs are going to find NASCAR rides sooner than later. I don't think they're going to replace one of their 40-year-old drivers with somebody that's 32 years old.
Well, and Ryan, you know what the model for that is? For what you're talking about with the young drivers in JGR? Look at what Hendrick just did.
Exactly.
They booted out all their old drivers. And, Byron, I think all four of those guys are under the age of 30. Aren't they? All four of them are. And you're talking about
Kyle Larson, I believe, is 30.
He just turned 30. That's right. He just had his birthday, maybe in Kansas, and just turned 30. But yeah, you had, Jeff Gordon, you had Jimmy Johnson, you had a plethora of older drivers, and they methodically just cleaned house and brought in these four drivers, and basically Hendrick was failing. They're slowing down. They weren't as dominant. Now look where they are now. They got these guys in the car for a couple of years, and Hendrick's ripping everybody's butthole open again now, with equipment, driving skills, and everything. So that's a great model that maybe Joe Gibbs looked at and said, we're going to follow that model. We're going to weed these guys out slowly but surely. But you don't ever want to give up on a Kyle Busch, because I don't think Kyle Busch is done driving yet. No. I think that man is not done winning big time. He's not done winning championships.
I think there's a 90% chance he stays with JGR. I think this is all just to try to hurry up and get this done. That's it.
Yeah. posturing. I like the comment you made about it's posturing by his agent, and we know that happens, immensely.
Yeah, I think my opinion on that is I think the percentage that he stays with JGR is actually higher than 90%. Ryan, I would be shocked to see
Well,
him
screw
leave
you, Joe.
JGR.
See,
Well, I'm just
Joe.
saying.
You
Look,
think
Joe,
you're better than me?
I
no,
tried
I
to
don't
do
think
that.
I'm better than you.
I tried to do that last week, Joe. I tried to posture a little bit so we might
know
get
what?
a little better deal,
You know what,
and I got
Ryan?
my wrist slapped for that. And so I'm not with another organization. I got my wrist slapped, so I'm not ever going to posture ever again.
I'm not going to posture either because today is Ryan Peters' birthday. And
That's
I
right.
Yeah,
I
and
think
you
I
just
think-
come
right.
around and you
How
just
about
come
this?
around thinking you're the best Kyle Busch fan, and that is
I
better
don't-
than
I'm not even-
90%
no.
from the Kyle Busch fan. The
Listen,
Kyle Busch
okay,
fan. Like
here.
I
the
say
Ohio
he's my
State, I am
second favorite
the
driver
Ohio
of all
because
in the
because
sport.
it is your birthday, Ryan. Because it is your birthday, I think there is a better than 89% chance that he stays with Joe Gibbs.
89.1. Tia
Yeah.
Fogel, my mom. We're good.
What is your mom's first name?
Tia, just
my
like your
wife's
wife.
name is Tia. Yeah.
Yes.
How's she spell it?
TIA.
Mine's TEEA. Try saying that after 5 vodka tonics. My wife is Tia TEEA. Doesn't come out, Ricky. That's double E. Will kill you
Anyway.
every time.
And she goes, okay, Steve, I'm driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not with my Hemi engine, you're not. Give me the gas pedal and that power.
Steve, you mentioned the fan and the media and fan reaction to Denny Hamlin's post-race conduct this past week. Let's dive into that a little bit. So what we saw, right, was after the race, which Denny Hamlin, I believe, finished fourth. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that is correct.
He finished fourth. You don't care about this, Ryan?
No, Ryan, he's just ready
my
to
light
fight.
malfunction. My light malfunction. Maybe it is, Joe. I got a hockey jersey on. Maybe I am ready to.
Yeah, he's ready
throw
to
down
go.
a little bit.
Your light malfunction.
No, my light.
Mood.
I thought you went and put makeup on. You look a hell of a lot better.
I actually thought the exact same thing. I was like, damn, that might actually be the way to go.
Screw that light. Now it helps Joe a lot. Go ahead, Joe.
Anyway, what we saw is Denny Hamlin runs a great race, one of his best races of the season, other than his win.
Yeah, his second top 10.
Yeah, his second top 10. His second top 5 essentially. He wins the race and he finishes fourth, and then the rest of the race he finishes in the top 35. So after the race, Denny Hamlin is part owner in 23XI. He's excited for his driver. He's excited for Kurt Busch. He runs up and congratulates his driver. And I guess the media and fans, some fans of NASCAR, I won't say all fans because I'm a fan of NASCAR, and I didn't give a shit. But some fans in the media took exception to how he acted in congratulating his team and his driver. So I guess a couple questions arise out of this, guys. One, do you think it's a conflict of interest? I won't use nepotism since Steve busted my balls on using nepotism the other night. But do you think it's a conflict of interest? Or do you think that it is a distraction when a driver is competing? And we've seen many drivers over the years own teams and race effectively. Do you think it's a conflict of interest and or a distraction to these drivers when they have their race, when they're out competing against their own race team? Steve, I'll let you go first on this one.
I think it's much ado about nothing, personally, truthfully. I was going to take it a different tact on the entire thing. I guess I tried to find an equal thing in other sports. And basketball, I can say the first thing the players always do is go shake their opponent's hands. And then they go celebrate and party. So if Denny Hamlin wants to go congratulate his driver real quick, and then cheer on the fact that he finished fifth in the top 5 in the sport, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, he's got every right to be proud. He's put a lot of his own money into that team, and they won. They made a statement about it. They're a player now. So I don't have a problem. Kind of, when I looked at it, I went back and watched the whole thing fold out, the whole thing with him coming out, and I saw Jamie Little trying to track him down He was trying to run to Kurt Busch. And here's Jamie with her microphone pointing it and trying to keep up with him. And he's over there trying to congratulate her, and she sticks the mic in their mouth in between Kurt and go watch the tape between Kurt and Denny. And it's like, and it just was like, had to get that word in before Denny had any chance to do anything. So I think most of the crap that came out of that was developed from there. No, I don't think it's a problem that he goes over and congratulates. I don't think it's a conflict of interest because it's essentially half of a Joe Gibbs racing car. Anyway, it's a TRD car. And he's a stout TRD driver for him. I don't see the problem. I think media wanted to make some of that. I think Jamie Little, in the end, didn't do herself any justice in my eyes. I know a lot of people don't care about that. But, she kept asking him, and he just wanted to congratulate his driver. And I said this to you, Joe, is that I still to this day believe in sports like that, there needs to be a courtesy period for these drivers. Like, just hold the press out of the pits for 10 to 15 minutes. Give them a chance to get their helmets off. These guys many times are getting a mic stuck in their visor as they try and take their harness off, their gloves off, their helmet off, their earplugs out, their body monitoring stuff out. And, they're basically putting this on television with a mic in their mouth, and they're like trying to get a drink of water. I think you need to keep the media maybe out of the pits for 5, 10, 15. It's an arbitrary number, whatever they think is appropriate. But give these guys a chance to take care of personal business. Maybe somebody's got to get out of the car and pee. They don't have time to get to a bathroom.
Steve, I agree with that.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
You know what the problem with that is? That Fox doesn't want to keep the post race on long enough before they got to a damn soccer game
race?
To give the people time.
What post race?
They don't have a post race. They got to shove the damn microphone. Jamie Little's got to shove microphones in people's face so they can cut away to their damn soccer game that nobody's going to watch anyway.
I know. I flipped it off immediately and went and watched Real Housewives of Orange County.
Yeah. Ryan, on your birthday, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah.
I do, actually. I think you can tell it's All-Star race weekend because there's a lot of stories that are not substantiated coming out. It's more opinion-based. So I think you can obviously tell that there's not real competition going on this week, besides the fact somebody's going to win $1 million. The only thing that I would say, as a fan, I could care less because I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan. He's actually the rudest person I've ever met that is a NASCAR driver. So if I was a Denny Hamlin fan, I think there's still a part of me that would be concerned, and it's not from after the post race. I think that's fair. The race is over. Who cares? It's the asking about Bubba Wallace during the race. And I think that's what gives the ammunition for what happens after the race. And again, if I'm a Denny Hamlin fan and if I'm Joe Gibbs, I think those are the only two people that should care about this. Again, if I'm Joe Gibbs, I'm like, hey, I'm paying your salary to worry about the 11 car. You can do whatever you want with the 45 and 23 after the race is over. But if the 23 and 45 car are entering the brain of Denny Hamlin in the middle of 400 miles, 500 miles, then Denny Hamlin obviously is not in the right headspace to win races, in my mind. I think the only thing that we can really compare this to, and this is completely outdated, is manager players in baseball. How does a manager – how did Pete Rose set his lineup whenever he was going through a slump? Did the slump affect his managerial skills, or did the team losing affect his playing skills? I think those are kind of the only way that we can ever tie it somewhat on a parallel. But at the end of the day, for the average NASCAR fan, you shouldn't care.
Well, Ryan, I agree with that. I agree with it entirely. Just to add on, we actually saw that happen pretty much in 2001. And I think this was brought up last week by one of the two of you. Dale Earnhardt effectively was blocking for Waltrip and Little E.
Yeah, Joe brought that up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, Joe, that was yours. So hopefully, Joe, why don't you comment on that because that was your story.
Well, I mean,
We're going to feel the
effectively,
same way.
right. No, I mean, we could talk all day. I personally don't think that Denny Hamlin being excited. I agree with you, Ryan, when you say what you should be concerned about is asking about Bubba Wallace, why the race is going on. I agree totally with that. But I think at the end of the day, with the comments that Denny Hamlin made about he's never had a feeling like this, it's different than any win he's ever had. And he certainly enjoyed himself and he was on cloud nine. I think these drivers who own these teams take vested interest in it. Now, I think comparing this totally to what Dale Earnhardt did with Little E and Michael Waltrip's a little bit different because not only were those his two cars competing for a win, that was his son. So that's a whole nother factor that's not even brought into this. So,
yeah, it's like that on steroids, really.
Right. So I think you compound what we're talking about a little bit. Obviously, he wants his son to get his first 500 win. They are both his cars, and when that happened, he was blocking. He was in a Childress car blocking for a DEI car. So, to compare the two, I think is a little different. But if we are going to compare them, I will say that you have to at least believe that there is a little conflict going on inside of Denny Hamlin's head. And if he doesn't believe that he has a chance to win the race, and he's got two cars or one car out front, he's going to do everything he can to make sure that one car wins and effectively gives you another teammate that is not trying to win the race themselves out on the track. So, but at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with Denny Hamlin being part owner of 23XI and being excited about Kurt Busch getting their first win of the season and their first full-length win in team's history. So, Joe,
I think what would change the dynamic of this, and I don't want to beat this topic to death, is Denny Hamlin don't have a championship. That's like the huge glaring thing missing is he don't have a championship. And when you have a championship, you get things, you get a pass. Nobody's going to give Dale Earnhardt shit for not blocking because he's got more championships or tied for more than anybody else that's ever raced NASCAR. So
Agreed.
Nobody's going to say, okay, Dale gave this race away so that DEI could win, but he's already got 7.
Right.
Denny Hamlin has 0. So at the same time, it's like you still have unchecked boxes for a potential Hall of Fame racer. That's going to be the glaring thing on your resume, Denny, whenever it comes time to go to Charlotte is, well, what did Denny Hamlin do and what did he not do? Well, the biggest box of all, Denny Hamlin, one of the best drivers during his time, didn't win a championship.
Very valid point.
Valid point.
Steve, you got anything else to add before we move on to?
We should move on to the All-Star race and then
let's move on to the All-Star race. Before we do, though, I just want to hit on some quick news, or not really news, but go over the ratings. So the ratings for this week at Kansas, NASCAR saw 2.337 million viewers tune in to watch the race in Kansas. Notably, though, it was the 14th most watched sporting event of the weekend, which was beat out by every game of the NBA Finals. And, of course, the game between Milwaukee and Boston was the most watched sporting event of the year in the NBA Finals that had 7 million viewers. However, the NASCAR race did beat out just slightly beat out the NHL playoff games, which came in with 2.325 million viewers and did not beat out the PGA Tour golf tournament, which had 2.848 million viewers.
So Joe, what you're saying is that the NASCAR iced the NHL.
It did, but it lost miserably to everything else.
Come on, Ryan, laugh at that one.
I will say,
Joe,
what?
You're not putting on the same playing field. It was Game 7 Sunday. I mean, it was Game 7 for hockey, Game 7 for the NBA. And
they beat out
lose any viewers not being on regular TV. They were on cable.
I agree.
And they're in stiff competition this week, too, because you're going to have more NBA playoffs going on, and now you've got the PGA Championship going on.
Okay.
Don't be a Debbie Downer, Joe.
I'm not being a Debbie Downer.
No, that's exactly what you're being.
NASCAR beat out.
No context.
I'm telling my mom if you keep talking to me like that.
We'll get into it, but the All-Star
And
race
for
is
two-
not a ratings draw anyway because there's a good chance your driver's not even racing in it.
So NASCAR beat out the USFL, it beat out the NHL, and it's not quite fair to compare it to the PGA event because that was over 4 days. So I think it did fairly well. But
That's not
let's
what you
move.
said earlier.
You know what? Well, you mistook what I said. I'm sorry.
No.
So I'm going to give you a free pass
Move
again
on.
because it's your birthday. And if you keep talking to me like this, I'm going to tell my mom.
No,
So
go ahead.
let's move on. We now have, 11 drivers with a win this year. Is that right?
Yes.
So
Five
the
spots
All-Star race,
available.
5 spots available. But let's talk about the All-Star race this week at Texas. Ryan, are you prepared to talk to us about the format of the All-Star race?
I'm going to try to do it off the top of my head.
Okay.
So for everybody else listening, you're going to need a pen and a pad, especially if you haven't looked and see what this is. So the people that have won this year and last year are already in. That's all you need to know for that part of it. So let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. So there's going to be a practice session, it's 25 minutes long, and then they're going to do normal qualifying. Okay? The qualifying will be 1 lap. The top 8. All right, Joe. We're not even after practice yet. Go ahead. What's up?
Is the qualifying just with the drivers that are in, or everybody trying to get in?
It is for everybody. Well, if you let me finish, I'll try.
Okay, go ahead.
But
Go.
no, it's cool. I only got 50,000 things I have to remember for this segment. Don't worry about it. So the top 8 from the 1 lap qualifying will then essentially do a pit crew competition drag race. So the top 8 qualifiers will each then set up stall by stall right next to each other. The pit crews will come off the wall, do a pit stop, and then they will race down pit road as fast as they can into the end of pit road. That will set the qualifying or the stage order. Sorry. That will set the order for the main event Sunday. Okay. It's not even that. We're not even to the complicated parts stuff yet. Okay. So the top 8, it's a gimmick to make you turn on to FS2 Saturday night. It's essentially an NHRA drag race with the pit crew for the top 8. Okay. So you get the 1 lap qualifying for everybody else sets the open, and then the rest will fall in after that based on their times. So JJ Yelly will still be in last. That's all you need to know, Joe. Okay. So now we go to the open. This is for 4 drivers to get, 3 drivers due to racing, 1 to get in for the main competition, which will be after the open. Stage 1 is 20 laps. Winner of stage 1 will get into the All-Star race. Stage 2 is 20 laps. The winner will get into the All-Star race. Stage 3 is 20 laps. The winner will get into the All-Star race. Stage 4 is 10 laps. Or I'm sorry, there is no stage 4. There will be a fan vote. After that, fan vote winner gets into the All-Star race. During the open, cautions count towards those laps. So it's only 20 laps. One guy wrecks, you just lost 25 to 40% of your actual green flag racing. Are we good so far?
I think so. Okay, yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm going to say this is ridiculous.
It gets more
far,
confusing. It gets more confusing.
Okay.
There are 3 segments in the All-Star race before the final segment. Segment number 1 is 25 laps. The winner will start on the pole for the final segment, as long as he finishes in the top 15 for segments 2 and 3. The second winner of 25 laps will start spot number 2 in the final 50-lap portion of the All-Star race, as long as he finishes segment number 3 above 15. After segments 1 and 2 are finished, there will be a pit road competition. The fastest pit stop, the driver will start the final stage in 4th place, as long as he finishes in the top 15 of the final 25-lap session, where the winner will start the final segment in 3rd place. Moving on to the final segment will be 50 laps, and as long as there's no natural caution between laps 15 to 25, NASCAR will throw a caution at lap 25, and then you will have a 25-lap shootout. They'll bunch back up the field at Texas, and you got 25 laps to see who wins $1 million. That's it.
Steve, I'm fucking speechless. First of all,
I don't have anything to add.
First of
all I could say is I'll be watching the end of the PGA Championships.
First of all, I want to know, and I don't want to piss anybody off here, but what fucking dumbass came up with that?
Oh, I wrote that down. You know who did? You know who came up with that?
Who?
Brian France went on a drinking binge and wrote this on a cocktail napkin and handed it to Mike Helton as his last official act before he goes into the Hall of Fame and says, "This is the All-Star race. I don't care if you let me be president of NASCAR. I still own the damn thing."
Yeah, Jesus. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm going to watch it because I'm a NASCAR fan.
Yeah, I will too. But that's
and
the
it's
only
exciting.
reason.
I will say, as we move into our picks here this week, Steve, do you have anything to add for the NASCAR race? I mean, I think.
Well, I think this. The interesting part that's going to be is, we've always said the only thing to do in this race is win. In previous years, they've always taken a destructible car to the All-Star race. They didn't care if they bashed the crap out of it. So they never brought their good equipment to this race because they knew they were going to get in a wreck or something like that trying to win the $1 million.
Right.
Now they have next-gen cars. There's a limited supply of next-gen cars for every team. Not everybody has enough cars to go, all out in this race. I was going to say balls to the wall, but Mike may not like me using balls to the wall.
Well, you already said balls.
No, I have not said it yet.
Well, you did say it. You said balls to the wall.
Well, no, I said I was going to say balls to the wall.
Okay, do not say balls to the wall.
Anyway, the point is that they're going to go all out. Are they going to go out or not? That's going to be the fun part. Funny part is, are they going to sit back there and say, "Don't wreck the next gen car. We need that car for the next race," or something like that. We don't have enough to have a 20-lap pile up with all these cars. That's going to be interesting. Secondly, I think if you really want to make this thing fun, why run it at Texas? What you want to do.
Great point. Steve.
Take this thing to Daytona. Run it on the super speedway where crashing is king and anybody can come to the front in 2 laps. You can have J.J. Yaley qualifying as a fan vote, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he pulls a Michael McDowell, and he's up there in the front, and Kyle tries to take somebody out, Kyle Larson, not Kyle Busch, wipes out 10 cars, and Michael McDowell wins the All-Star race.
Yeah!
Or Bubba wins the All-Star race because he got in somehow too.
I think there should be a rule.
He's already in because he won Talladega last year, so he's in.
I think there should be a rule that the All-Star race should have to be held at a track that produces good fun racing for the fans.
Daytona.
Well, it could be
Bristol,
Daytona. How about Atlanta, Darlington?
Atlanta would be a great track.
Yeah. Let's take the All-Star race to the most boring track we have on the circuit. So
yeah.
Hey Joe, I got
a mile-and-a-half track and just be bored to death.
Yeah. Let's hear your comments.
So we've got a good audience coming in for NASCAR. I mean, we've proven that. The ratings say that the worst thing you could do is to make it where nobody knows what the hell's going on. I mean, I literally, that was my thesis to get my master's degree right there. All I had to do, I said, if I read this without looking, do I get my master's degree? And the professor said, why not?
You got it.
So
Liberty University. You're going to get it from Liberty University.
Trump University. It's in the mail somewhere. So I think
I voted for Trump. What the hell?
The part that they're getting the pit crew involved. It is a team sport. I think anybody that's watched this, and I think the practicing or the qualifying and then the little 8-team NHRA drag racing, I honestly God think that will be really entertaining. I wish they would do a bracket style and that's how they just determine the entire starting lineup. Because I think, you got two people next to each other. Pit crews come on, they do their thing, they haul ass to the end of pit road. On. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Nonstop of that, then you do the race. In terms of the race itself, NASCAR is a grassroots type of sport. I think that they should do what SRX does and move these races to South Boston. I think they should move it to Knoxville, North Wilkesboro when it gets, completely renovated. I think that they should go to these smaller tracks because you're not worried about nobody goes to Texas, so you're not worried about people going to damn
They don't care about racing there.
Exactly. There's no reason why you couldn't go to a smaller track and let people really make this an event that don't get to see this type of NASCAR racing. Instead, you go to the hellhole of NASCAR, which is Texas, where everything fun goes to die.
Where's the track? The track in Dallas. The track's in Dallas, Fort Worth, isn't it? Yeah. Roughly, yeah. Okay, guess who might be playing basketball Sunday night?
The Mavs.
The Mavs. Yeah. Okay, we're just going to get a sellout crowd in Texas tonight because the Mavs are going to be playing, and everybody's going to go, I can't figure this out. I'm going to go to Hooters and watch the damn game on TV if I can't get a ticket. I'm watching my Mavs play.
Versus sitting when it's 99 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's going to be in the high 90s in Dallas all weekend. Forecast is for extreme heat all weekend. We had 95 in LA here today. We're supposed to get it too, but I'll just be laying in the pool.
Well, you know what they say in Texas: if it doesn't involve a football, they don't care.
They don't care. Yeah,
which
really
I kind of agree with, but I am a fan of NASCAR. So let's move on. Let's move on.
Here's the last thing I think they need to do. This may be in topic for later on. You want to go make the All-Star race. Another thing, take it to Daytona and run it on the sand. That's where the damn sport started.
Steve, they can't race on the grass.
Yeah. They can't race in sand, Steve. You got to take the diffuser off.
That's right. You have to take the diffuser off. Yeah. Chase Elliott had a few choice words about that.
Yeah.
He cussed out somebody on Radioactive.
As he should have, because he lost two more laps because the damn tow truck got stuck.
Tow truck got stuck.
Let's move on to our picks, but I do want to remind everybody that the Grueling Truth NASCAR show is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. We're going to get into our picks from last week and go over the scoring. Last week and go over the scoring for the week. And let's get into that. I think I don't think we had a bad week, guys. So I will start with my picks from last week, and just to let you know how the scoring goes. We pick 5 drivers each week. Here on the show, you get 3 or 5 points for a win, 2 points for a top 5 finish, and 1 point for a top 10 finish. Last week I picked Larson, Truex. Yes, I'm slow. You want me to slow down?
No, I'm just for my picks. Just caution, they suck.
Okay, I picked Larson, Truex, Elliott, Hamlin, and Harvick. I don't know why I picked Harvick over Kurt Busch because I said on the show that Kurt Busch might win, and then I picked Harvick anyway like an idiot. However, I got 2 points for Larson, 1 point for Truex Jr., and 2 points for Hamlin, and I came out of the week with 5 points, which brings my season total to 43 points. Steve, you picked Elliott, Larson, Truex Jr., Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. You got 2 points for Kyle Busch, 2 points for Larson, 2 points for Hamlin, and 1 point for Truex Jr. You came out of the week with 7 points. Great job, Steve. Give it up for Steve. Yeah.
Creeping up on you there, Joe.
Your season total is now 41 points. We are separated by just 2 points. We are separated by a top 5 finish, Steve. Now, Ryan, all your drivers finished in the top 36 this week. I want to commend you on that. However, you picked Kyle Busch, Bowman, Byron, Reddick, and Blaney. You got 2 points for Busch, 1 point for Bowman, which brings your weekly total to 3 points and your season total to 29 points. But as always, I'm going to caveat those picks because for the first 2 weeks of the show, you were not able to pick drivers.
Hey Joe,
Joe, can I say something?
Joe, can we absolve that and get him? Can we look at the first 2 weeks of average scores of you and I, and what did we score on average the first 2 weeks, and just put them in his bank and
like
say,
2 points.
No, I don't want.
Our first week was horrible.
No,
I'd rather you're not going to
catch. You're not going to catch.
Do our average per race, and then we'll say, this is what Ryan averaged. He only did 34 races, and this is what he averaged, which I still probably won't catch up.
Okay, but I'd like to give you a little bit fair in there so we can. Not feel bad about.
I appreciate the handout. I don't want it.
Well, actually,
it's not a reparation. This is not.
If you remember back to Ryan's first picks, when he started picking that first race, he killed it, and he was actually within like 3 points of me and 2 points of you. Actually, you were winning at the time. He got within like 2 points of me and 3 points of you. So actually, I thought he was going to catch us, but he picks people like Tyler Reddick. And Blaney
to win. Damn fault, Joe. The hell with him. We're not giving him crap. If he picks those idiots, that's on him, not on us.
I've got one thing to say. I talked on the show, and I said, I want to pick Martin Truex, but I'm going to pick Ryan Blaney. And I just have to say this. Screw you, Ryan Blaney. You suck. This is your fault. I should have had 5 points, but I believed in you because we have the same first name, and you're a disgrace to the RYAN. Move on. Yeah. I'm done. This is stupid.
So, being the All-Star race this week, and it doesn't matter for points, I have an idea, and maybe you guys can comment and say that's stupid or it's not stupid.
Is it patented?
What do you mean?
Your idea? You got?
I did not take it down to the patent office. It is intellectual property,
serious.
though.
It's not that serious.
So what I would like to do, guys, is I would like to pick 3 drivers this week. And what we will do is progressively pick them by who is winning. Or actually, we will go with who won last week and go that way so Steve can pick his driver. I'm
still last. I got it.
I would like to progressively pick 3 drivers. So how that would work is, Steve, you pick a driver, then I'll pick a driver, then Ryan will pick a driver. And we are only competing this week, since it's not a point total, we are only competing this week for a win. So if you pick a driver that wins, you will have 5 points added to your score. Top 3 or top 5, top 10 does not matter. So we'll pick 3 drivers progressively. If you pick a winner, you get 5 points added to your season total. If you don't, we won't go into it. This week for my top 5 best bets that will be published on The Grueling Truth, and I'll have a video. I think that this is a week that there are some drivers that have already made the race with wins last year, like Eric Amarola, AJ Allmendinger, that are going to be racing in this race that have a chance to win this race, and they have very high odds. So I think with keeping in the spirit of an all-star race and the gimmicks of the all-star race, I think the best bets for this week are going to be drivers with very high odds where you could bet low with a high payout and just have fun with this week's race. But do you guys agree with the format of the all-star race and our picks?
I like the idea, but we can't use the same driver, right?
No. Once you take the driver, it's gone.
All right. Other question.
You go.
Does it go 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1? Or are we doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in order?
I'd like to go
snaking
1, 2. So yeah, we could do. Well, So Steve will have first pick this round. I'll have first pick the second round. You'll have first pick third round. How's that?
I just feel like I get screwed everywhere, but that's okay. Go ahead.
You want to let Steve? You want to let Ryan have the first pick in this?
No,
sure. No, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I don't want Ryan, the first pick.
It's your birthday.
He wants the third pick, is what he wants.
It's wonderful.
But he takes 3rd and 4. Then he would get 3rd and 4.
Yes, I want the.
He wants the 3rd pick.
We'll do it your way. It's a wonderful Wednesday, Ryan, and it is your birthday, so we will do that.
So
Steve,
my first pick
is Chase Elliott.
Nope.
Holy
shit!
Kyle
Busch.
Son of a bitch! I hate this show.
Are you really going to do that to him?
No, I'm not going to do that to him.
Your first pick is Chase Elliott.
My first pick is Chase Elliott.
Okay. My first pick is
Do it.
Kyle Busch. My first pick is Kyle Busch.
I was gonna take. I think
Kyle-
Kyle Busch is gonna win the damn thing.
He might. My first pick is going to be going. Oh my God, Kyle Larson is my first pick.
Joe, you or Ryan, you get 3 and 4.
All right. So I want to add a little history to this. The last 2 winners of the All-Star race have won the championship. So this is big deal right here. So I'm going to say Kyle Busch, and then I always take a shitty driver, so I got to keep with that. I'll do that later. I'll go Ross
You'll take
Chastain.
Bubba Wallace.
Ross Chastain.
Okay, so
That's
then
not a shitty
Joe,
driver.
you go again. Now, Joe, you pick.
Yeah.
I said I'd wait with my shitty driver, Joe.
My second driver is going to be Denny Hamlin.
Damn.
Now, Steve, you get 2 picks.
Yes, I do. And I just got one of them snagged out from under me. But that's the way it goes. Pre-pick comments here real quick. What you should have done was say you pick 3 drivers. If you pick a driver that's already in the race, you get 2 points. If you pick a driver that has to qualify to get in the race, you get 4 points. And if you pick the fan favorite vote to get in, you would get 6 points if he won. That would have been fun too. But anyway, we didn't do that way. My 2 picks will be I'm gonna say, who's got spunk in a race like this? Tell you what, I'm going to take Kurt Busch and Austin Dillon.
Oh yeah.
Dillon's crazy enough and needs to win something. He's tailor-made to win this race. That makes my 3 picks: Elliott, Busch, Kurt Busch, and Austin Dillon. Correct?
Yep. Elliott, Kurt Busch, and Austin Dillon. Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Ryan, you currently have Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain.
You get 1.
It is your turn to pick.
No, it's not. It's your turn.
No,
You're the middle.
No, you're the middle. You pick again now.
Joe's the middle, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you don't even know how to. You don't know the rules to your own game. How are people going to know how to do the All-Star race if you don't know the rules to your own game, Joe?
I'm going to take Martin Truex Jr.
I'll take William Byron.
Yeah, that's a good pick too. Damn, I didn't think of William
pick.
Byron. Didn't think of Bowman.
Those are some good picks, guys. Before we round out the show or wrap up the show, do either one of you two have any final thoughts on anything we discussed today?
No.
Great show.
No.
I think. Think.
Oh, I had one final.
Going to be very hit or miss this weekend.
No, I'll wait for you. Go ahead. No, it's not. It's procedural. Final thought. Go ahead.
No, I think you're up, Steve.
No, Ryan, what did you say? Go ahead.
I just think this format's going to be very hit or miss.
Yeah.
People, like you said, they're going to go, hey, there's 25 laps, and then they'll bring up the screen of the rules, and they're going, you're right, there is NBA on tonight. So it'll be interesting if they can keep people throughout. So
I will tell you, I bleed NASCAR blue. I bleed, and we all 3 of us do. That's why we do this show. I'm only watching it because I love NASCAR. If I wasn't this big a NASCAR fan, I would not be watching this. It would have no interest to me whatsoever. I would be watching the end of the PGA, which I probably would be flipping back and forth anyway, or I'd be watching whatever else, the Mavs play if they're playing, or the NBA if it's playing. Because it is getting down to where the NBA players have to step up and play good. They play to their talent level.
Yeah, they hustle.
They hustle
right
now. Yeah, they play. I watched the Miami Boston game. I thought, man, these guys are really going at it. Good. Why don't they do this all season long? So, I agree with you.
Steve, having said that, Steve Ryan, I think this week, we'll take a break if you guys are okay with it from the post-race show this week. With everything going on, this race is a fun race. I'm not going to get worked up over this race. I don't think you guys are either. So we are going to take a break from the post-race show. Again, there will – go ahead, Steve.
One procedural – I'll say to everybody that's still with us, we did not break down the Kansas race. We did that for a reason. We do that post race, which you can find on thegruelingtruth.com. Just go to gruelingtruth.com, punch up. You will hear a very good, well done post race show by all three of us. And of course, the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. That powers that site, and you can find out how to bet this race if you choose to. They will tell you the best places to go bet. That's all I wanted to say is we purposely did not break down the Kansas race. We'd already done that.
That is true. And if you do like our shows here at The Grueling Truth, we have several shows on various sports. We are on YouTube, Facebook. I believe we're on Twitch. And we are also on where you can find any major podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. So check us out there, like and subscribe. This week there will be a top 5 best bets come out. But like I said, we're going to gear those more toward fun bets that could have big payoffs for this race, and the likelihood of picking somebody like a Kurt Busch, who has, I think right now, plus 4,500 odds for the Allstar race. And he just got a win.
I took Kurt Busch.
Yeah, you did. So, and I'm going to steer these probably, Eric Amarola or AJ Allmendinger might be in those top 5 best bets, because I think right now, AJ Allmendinger is at plus 10,000 odds for this race. So
he is locked in, isn't he? Because of Brickyard last year. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So a $10 bet on him would pay out $1,010, which is just an incredibly low risk bet for a race that has a bunch of factors. So I will leave you with that. And again, like Steve said, The Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. We will see you next week. Guys, have a good night.
100 shares of my